Hi everyone, this is going to be a quick how-to on creating your own cues and using visualization to practice them in order to become a more efficient lifter. The first thing we will be looking at is why we use cues. In short, there are three reasons: more efficient execution of a specific movement, added ritualization of a specific movement, and individualization of a specific movement. We should attempt to combine cues with visualization because studies have shown that the combination of training and visualization creates a larger training effect than either of those on their own. Additionally, learning new movements can also be done much faster using visualization techniques in combination with cues. Lastly, changing already existing movement patterns is also possible much quicker with these two than without. Here's an example of Yula's deadlift. As you can see, her movement quality isn't nearly high enough for the sport of powerlifting. This was on the day she started training with me, and we decided to use cues to help her out. I'm now going to take you through 5 steps, the first of which is a detailed description of movement. You're going to sit down with a pen and a piece of paper, and you're going to write down the movement from beginning to finish. Make sure that you're as detailed as possible and include everything that you can think of. Once you've finished that, read through it several times and try to visualize the movement as you do so. If the text fits with the way you imagine the movement, you're good to go on to the next step. In step 2, we're going to start narrowing it down to the most important parts. Try to minimize the content of your description by summarizing it in 3 to 6 sentences, leaving out things that aren't crucial to your interpretation of the movement. Make sure you include the essential parts of the movement that are tailored to your own needs, things that you struggle with or that you feel you need to have in mind whenever you execute the movement. Once you've decided on a few sentences, try to find a single word that represents each of them. In Yula's example, she has words like setup, hips, and slack. Now try visualizing the movement with your narrowed down version a few times. If everything seems to fit, you can move on to the next step. In step 3, we're going to symbolize your narrowed down version and create a movement rhythm. This works off the principle of temporal equivalence, which means that the cues you're using need to take the same amount of time to visualize in your mind as the parts of the movements themselves. In this example, you can see Yula use arrows and differently sized writing to equalize each word with the timing of the movement. Once you've done this, feel free to practice visualizing the movement a few more times to make sure everything is working as intended. If that is the case, feel free to move on to the next step. Now it's time to practice. You can choose to print your cues, write them down in your training notebook, or just keep them in mind when you go to training. Make sure to run through your cues before your sets, or whenever you feel the need to. We found that using them before heavy singles has had a particularly positive effect on movement quality. If training specifically for a powerlifting meet, using the petlip approach to visualization is most useful in my opinion. Check out the article by Stronger by Science on the topic. I've put a link down below. I've also linked a worksheet that I created that helps preparing you for using this technique. At the same time though, I'd advise also spending some time visualizing the movements each day. If you do so, make sure you're in a calm state and free of distractions. Step 5 concerns making readjustments when necessary. The way you execute a movement may change over time, which is perfectly normal. Just be aware of it happening and be diligent enough in adjusting your cues accordingly. To summarize, you're first going to make a detailed description of the movement before narrowing it down to single words, then creating a rhythm and symbolizing the words, practicing, and finally readjusting whenever you need to. To end the video, here's some recent training footage of Yula doing deadlifts for single repetitions. After her heaviest single at 150 kilograms, you will see her last attempt at 155 kilograms at a recent competition, which was just 3 weeks before this session. Although comparing the two is difficult and not scientific at all, we believe that her movement quality has improved and she has been able to become more efficient at the deadlift. Please do keep in mind that this video only represents an extremely shortened version of the work that goes into applying what I've tried to outline here. If you have any questions, feel free to contact me. Thanks for watching.